Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I make these custom jet tag keychains. They're really simple to make, don't require too many materials, and people really love them. So let me show you guys how that's done. So these are the materials that we're going to be needing to make these jet tags. The first one, as we're using it for a base, is going to be this plastic sheeting. I have used this in other videos to make patches, and we're going to be making these jet tags essentially the same way. This plastic sheeting is great as it holds our material while we're embroidering on it, but when we're done, we're able to punch it out and leave a very clean edge. Next, I have these two pieces of pre-cut twill. These are what we're going to be using for our jet tag body. This is what we're going to be embroidering on. The reason I have two is there's going to be one for the front as well as a separate one for the back to keep it clean. To add the keychain, we're going to be using a grommet hole punch as well as brass grommets, and to finally accessorize them, we'll also be using these key rings so that way people can easily attach it to their keychains. For this, I'm using my 8x9 inch mighty hoop. You can use a different size, whatever fits. You can also size up to the larger ones if you're planning on doing multiple at a time. For me, I'm just going to be doing one for the demonstration, so I'll be using this one. And the last thing we're going to be needing is some sort of basting adhesive. Make sure it's made for an embroidery machine or a quilting machine so that way it doesn't gunk up your needles. The reason we need this is so we can attach the twill to our plastic sheeting without holding it down using our fingers as the machine is running. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to get everything set up is going to be the hoop, of course, as well as our plastic sheeting. First thing you're going to want to do is cut some plastic sheeting to size and then simply just lay that into your hoop. Once you have that, place the top hoop on carefully to make sure the plastic sheeting is as tight as possible. Like that. And we should be good to go. You can cut off all the excess. Once we have this, we can run it over to our machine and it's going to do a placement stitch for us. And so I'm going to show you those steps next. One thing I'm going to do extra here is typically I use a white magnetic bobbin. I'm going to go ahead and get this removed and switch over to a black bobbin. That way when we're done with the jet tag, on the back side it's going to have a nice black bobbin. So it's not going to be a full marrow style edge, but this way it'll look as clean as possible. Alright, I'm going to stop that after we have our placement stitching. So this way we know where to place our twill. I'm going to take this back to the table and get that into place. What I like to do to get the adhesive onto the twill is to use a spare piece of stabilizer and then just lay the twill upside down on it and give it a good spray. This should be plenty to hold it in place, but simply just line it up. So that should be good to go. It's not going to move while it's stitching the tack down and then while it's doing the design as well. We're not going to be placing the back yet. We're saving this for when we're done with all the embroidery on the front side. That way we can cover it up and make it real clean on the back side. With this, we're ready to take it back to the machine. There we go, we have the design all done, and then what we're going to do is add the twill on the back side and then do that tack down stitch. And then once we have that, we're going to head and finish it up with the edge. Alright, so same process like I did before. Get your piece of twill, throw some adhesive on it, except for this time we are switching over to the back, and if you want, you can go ahead and trim those. For the most part, you really don't have to. You can clean it up at the end. Again, we're just locking that down with some adhesive, and then the machine is going to go ahead and do that border once again to tack it down. Make sure when you are placing this onto the machine, the arm doesn't snag the underside and rip that off. And I'll show you guys here when I bring it back over. So just like that, make sure you just lift it up a little bit so this arm doesn't catch the bottom. Once you have that, you can go ahead and get the tack down, and essentially at this point you can leave it because it's going to run the tack down, and then it's also going to run the marrow or the faux marrow edge. I didn't mention before, but I am using the Marrow Edge from Fuller's Embroidery. I have made several videos on this before. They do have a template for this jet tag, which is this size. So I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Otherwise, let's get this project finished up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit go. And like that, we are done. Let me get this off and take it back over to the table, and I'll show you the easy cleanup process. All right, so here is the final result. And again, on the back, it is perfectly clean since we used that other piece of twill after the embroidery. The reason I use this plastic sheeting is because when you're done, you can simply pull it out just like that, and you don't have to worry about using a hot knife or trimming the fabric twill as close as you can. It does leave some little burrs on the edge from the plastic, but this can be removed simply with a lighter. So here are the little plastic pieces that come out when you pop it out of plastic. Just with the lighter, if you hit it quickly, make sure you're not holding it too long because the polyester thread will melt. But quick as that, it gets rid of almost all of them. So what I like to do is just quickly go over and hit the whole thing, get all four sides. Alright, and once you singe off all the plastic, you are ready to go. This is essentially a good to go patch. However, we are taking another step to make it a keychain by poking in a hole over here for a keychain ring. For demonstration as well, I did this one earlier. This was a test one, and look what it looks like when you do use a white bobbin versus a black bobbin. So I definitely recommend getting a black bobbin or the color bobbin of the material that you're using, just so it looks a lot more clean. So next thing we're going to need is our grommet puncher. All you got to do is get the bottom piece, the flat part, loaded on the bottom, the part that protrudes on the top, and simply get this poked in. Sometimes it doesn't go in all the way for the first one. That's why I have this second piece here as a backup. But make sure you get this as centered as possible. And once that looks good, you essentially want to punch this down as hard as you can. And again, since we do have two pieces of thicker twill as well as that plastic sheeting, I'm going to go ahead and give it a squeeze. And then if it doesn't, we'll switch it out and get the other one to fully punch through. Okay, and it looks like that was good. Do have the fabric still stuck in there, so go ahead and get that poked out. We won't need that, obviously. And there we go, pretty clean for the grommet. Try to get it to as close to the edge as possible so when you throw the key ring on, it's not super deep inside. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, and once you have the key ring on, you are done. You're good to go. This is the final product. So if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you found this entertaining or maybe learned something. Take care and have a great day.